Hey everybody, welcome back to Rob's Arcade. Thanks for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you are here. Got a brand new episode coming right up.
Rob's Arcade, Rob's Arcade, where the games get played and the games get saved so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
All right, well, here we go. Thanks for tuning back in, you guys. Like I said, got a quick little episode for you. It's actually pretty interesting. We had a full-time staff meeting this week, and this topic kind of came up a little bit where we were just talking about being present. I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit myself. I talk a bit about that all the time, but I really wanted just to kind of speak on it again, kind of re-emphasize some of it and how important it really is. You know, my supervisor pulled up some really cool videos and people talking about how, sometimes you're waiting for a moment or you're looking for, well, I want to do this, but, I think I need to so-and-so, or I think I want to do this piece, but I think I need a little more time under my belt. And it was really talking about the idea of leading and what it looks like to be a leader and what it looks like to lead, in your community and with your friends and your family and all of that, just anybody, just to be a leader in general, and that you have to lead kind of from where you are. And I just love that idea because here we are, it's a Wednesday and we're doing a Monday motivation. And I'm so happy you guys are taking the time to hang out with me, but that's kind of like, what it's all about. Even though it's, Monday motivation, here we are on a Wednesday, and sometimes you just have to kind of lead from where you are and just make sure you show up. And that's kind of what this is. It's just me just showing up, being here, even though it's not a Monday, and doing this Monday kind of motivational, video with you guys. But, it was really funny because it took me back to when I first started in my new role, in my new position, and how it really was about being present and being there and showing up and just, making sure I was on their radar. But recently it seems like it's even more relevant because we're going into this transition and this realignment and restructure and all these new roles and all of these things. And, I'm not really quite sure even what that might look like, but I have to show up every day and just do my job to the best and kind of have this, right attitude in all of it, even if we're not really sure, like I said, what our overall end game is. Sometimes we go in with something and, there's some disillusion to what we are doing, to what we thought we were actually going to do. But, you just, again, have to kind of show up and take that time to, do your best and do, what you can. And so it's just really crazy. I go back and I look at the beginning of my journey and even now and how it is all very relevant. And, in terms of showing up and doing your job and doing what you're supposed to do, we just recently had a little team overnight rally this past weekend. And, it wasn't as big as some of them typically are. I don't know if it was because of how it's put together or if it has something to do with just numbers in club and how things are looking, and maybe even how teams are kind of taking some of this realignment and restructuring and all of this, this information. But there was definitely this, one sense that even some of the other clubs and some of the other directors that I talked to were mentioning that their clubs just weren't as invested as they were, a little while ago, and before they got the news. Some of them were even saying they kind of regret informing their club that they're going to be transitioning into new roles and all of these things I myself have done. And I don't really regret having said anything to any of my kids about what's going on. Like I said, I want to be completely transparent with them in all of this. But like I said, some of the other directors are saying regret saying anything, and they just kind of wish they just kind of left club and came back the next year hey, this is what it is or whatever. And like I said, I don't really feel that same way. I feel like, I made the right call. But I also got some really cool feedback in general, just from, I had like 6 girls come to this overnight rally, and the feedback was really amazing. Like, it was all super positive, and they were like super engaged, and in fact had to be told to stop talking, and not like in a bad sense, but in the sense that the instructors wanted somebody else to speak up and somebody else to have something to say other than just the girls in my club, which I didn't think about it at the time, but as we were kind of going through that and then having this full-time meeting this week and thinking about all this, it kind of makes me wonder if that's not how, like, I'm just setting the climate, and how I'm setting that temperature, and how I set the room, and how, how I show up and how I engage. And if maybe that's not a reflection in how my teens show up and how they engage. But then also maybe there's some of that in how they show up and they engage. So therefore, I want to be there. I want to have that same energy and match them just as much. So being present, showing up, and showing up well, showing up 100%, is something that I've always talked about. And I'll be dang if it's not true. I'll be dang if it doesn't resonate. And I'll be danged if it doesn't not only show up in, the steps I took to get where I am, but that they continue to show up in the steps that I continue to make and continue to take. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of kick back and share that with you guys for a little Monday motivation, and just, encourage you people to show up and to do the same, and not just to show up, but to show up and truly engage, and show up and truly match that energy of those around you. Or be that, who's maybe the energy isn't there. Maybe that energy doesn't have that enthusiasm. So maybe you have to be the one to kind of come in and get people there. Maybe, it's not necessarily about coming in and matching the energy of the room, but also setting the energy of the room and making sure everybody's engaged and everybody's there at 100%. Because otherwise, what's the point? Go big or go home. That's always been, my cousin was just hitting me up yesterday about tattoos, and he's got this idea for that and this, and I'm just like, get it, do it. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about what I say. And then he's like, well, I just want advice. And I'm like, well, my advice is go big. Go big or go home. With anything, you're gonna get a tattoo, get a big one, or don't show up at all. Kind of the same thing. It's like gaming, basketball, like show up, go big or go home, man. So that's my message to you guys this week. Just thanks again for hanging out, taking a few minutes to be with me, to spend some time. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I myself had a fabulous one. Didn't realize I'm getting kind of eaten by mosquitoes right here. I myself had a fabulous weekend. Like I said, I had a great overnight with the teens, and had our Star Wars celebration. So hopefully you guys have been checking out some of the videos that I've been posting about that. And then, I was able to take some time off and spend some time with a friend of mine. Had a really great time on Monday. I know you're watching, so it was good seeing you. Hope to see you again soon. Hope to see you guys again soon. And again, thanks for just, hanging out with me and taking the time to, spend a little time and just kind of catch up. So until next time, make sure you guys show up. Make sure you show up strong. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other, share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, don't spend that quarter anywhere else. Take care. Peace out.